Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Mhm.
Vincent Sandra Haran here with you. And our goal today is to share skills about how to have effective relationships, long term sustained relationships. How many times have you listened to your partner or gotten into a disagreement, and when your partner's talking, that you're already thinking your response rather than being able to show your partner that you desire to understand what their thinking is and how they got to where they got. This takes a different kind of skills to, and we want to share with you some of those skills of how to effectively be present and to listen and not be in a hurry to get to conclusions or outcomes.
Yep, this is the foundation of, really having a relationship where you respect, honor, and care about each other. And communication is the foundation. When the communication breaks down, then it's really hard to move forward in the relationship in a respectful, loving, caring way. So, Vince and I are very committed to this. We practice this ourselves. We actually went to a workshop, oh my gosh, years and years ago, and did our own process around communicating because we're so very different in the way that we communicate. So some of this comes from our own experience, and some of it comes from our training, and most of it comes from our caring about couples and their relationships. I believe that the coupleship is such a sacred crucible, and want to honor that. And it's becoming easier and easier to just end relationships without taking the time and effort and resource to work on the relationship to see what's there. So that's why I want to do this today.
Yeah, we learned very early on, especially in doing our own personal work, that the old concept of opposites attract is really true. That we often admire the difference in personality styles about our partners, things that we see in them that we don't hold well in us. But then when we get into a long term committed relationship, we find out we want to change our partners to be more like us.
So true.
That
If you would just change.
if you would just think my way, if you would
Yeah.
process things my
Yeah.
way. So understanding your personality styles is one big step in understanding that we may be having the conversation using the same words, but meaning something completely different.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's why it requires patience. One of the things that we say often to our clients is that feelings are not emergencies. Because usually when couples come in to see us, they're at a point where there's a conflict where they don't know how to go any further than where they are. And often the beginning statement is something like, well, who's right? Tell us which one of us is right or wrong. And what we say is that it isn't about right or wrong. It's obvious we're process observers. So we watch your process and say, where are the blocks in the ways that you communicate?
Mm-hmm.
Because the words you use may have completely different meanings to each one of you. But if you don't know how to step back, respect your partner's point of view, and then try to develop a skill set of understanding why they get to the way of thinking the way they do.
Or even understanding what their way of thinking is, and what their
Yeah,
thinking is. We've witnessed many couples working on communication skills where they do some of this. They listen to their partner and they parrot back what their partner's saying, word for word, thinking that that's the way to work on communication skills. And it really goes deeper than that. It's listening to your partner with the ability to, for now, put your feelings aside of what's being said by your partner and stay present with some compassion and intention of hearing your partner with some empathy, which means if you have feelings that come up, saying to yourself, I'm going to put these aside for now because I want to stay present in this relationship. And not just repeat back what my partner's saying, but say what I'm understanding my partner to say. And then checking out with them, is that what you mean? Because if we just parrot back, the partner can say, yeah, that's what I said. But if we're not letting them know what we are understanding, then we still haven't communicated clearly. If it's, a different understanding of what's being said. And that takes so much time, and it's so worth it. That's where couples become impatient, because they want to say, well, I did hear him, I did hear her. And you heard the words, but what did you understand the words to mean through your filter, because your filter is different than your partner's filter. So we slow them down. We slow down in our own communication. This isn't just about who we work with. And we'll say, so is this what you mean? And that the partner may say, yeah, you got it. That's great. And then we can move forward. They might say, not really. That's not what I meant at all. And then I would say, or the other partner would say, so can you say it in a different way? I want to understand what you're saying. And again, I'll say understanding doesn't mean that you are agreeing with them, because you may not agree with your partner. That's another step of resolving that. The first foundational piece, though, needs to be for both of you to be able to feel and believe that you're understood. So,
and this is where the challenge of conflict in relationships really creates havoc for couples, because we get in such a hurry to want to get to a solution or to an outcome. Mm-hmm. When what we try to teach is that you're in a conflict, and it's not about either one of you being right or wrong or good or bad. Mm-hmm. It's more about your process is broken down. And so the tools that we often use to help couples is to slow the process down, as Sandra is saying, and then teach them you have to have a foundation of mutual respect. And so the skills that we teach are showing your partner that, one, you respect them as a person, even though you might not agree with whatever their opinions or judgments are, and to show them that you care about them and you have a desire to understand how they get to whatever conclusions they get to. When they feel seen and heard and that you're interested in understanding, it takes away some of the competition, right or wrong. I'm right, you're wrong, I'm good, you're bad. It takes it out of the judgment realm and puts it more into, okay, we're a couple who's at the limit of our resources. So how can we break through this in a different way to understand why we're at a conflict in this part of our communication? And then with patience, we go about working with each other compassionately and patiently to see that we can have many other opportunities to negotiate and find levels of compromise that we hadn't thought about when we're in a hurry to fix the problem.
Yeah, and I would say again that, it's being clear about what your intention is. If your intention is wanting to enhance your relationship, then this is a way that we can really support you enhancing your relationship through communication skills. If you're wanting to change your partner, then this won't be effective, because this isn't, about changing your partner's point of view or opinion or way of being. And oftentimes that's what couples want, is they want to convince their partner that they're right, or change their partner in a way that they want them to be. That's not uncommon. It's oftentimes through our relationships that we learn the most about ourselves. And so, anytime those kind of conflicts come up, it's, to me, always helpful to look at, so what is this teaching me about me? Because this really isn't about my partner. Yeah. And holding the intention and being clear about your intention that I want to, or I am doing this kind of practice of learning better communication with my partner, because I love my partner and I love our relationship and I want this. It isn't about needing to try and get my partner to be different or convince my partner that my way is a better way than his, or hers.
So one of the ways of building mutual respect in a relationship is first having more education and understanding about each other's personality style. We often would use the Myers-Briggs personality inventory because it's often so helpful for couples to understand that how we observe, how we think about, how we make decisions can be completely different and both are valid. But we don't get it when our partner doesn't see it the same way or process the same way as we do.
Right.
When you have understanding about those personality differences, it helps to give you more compassion and patience. And then you can begin to build a respect, even though we think and process differently or prioritize things differently. It doesn't make either one of us right or wrong, good or bad. What it really was, if you hear
It's
a train in the background,
the train in the
the
background.
sounder
Sorry.
is going by our building. So,
Yeah.
but so when you have that understanding, it gives you a greater sense of empathy that my partner's not against me. We're just different in how we process.
Yeah.
So that's how you begin, first through understanding and awareness. Then the second thing we do is we do what's called fair fighting strategies.
But that's for another.
Yeah, that's another. But I want to describe, the idea of having some boundaries about when to take timeouts and to negotiate behavioral patterns, because some of us grew up in loud families where yelling and screaming and cussing and swearing was just the norm in the family, and others grew up in families where it was pretty silent and there wasn't a lot of communication, so they get scared. So we have couples negotiate, and that's a different tool or skill set we do. But the idea is to build respect for each other so that you feel when you're in a conflict and there's feelings involved, that you show respect to each other's personal boundaries. When you have that and you can honor that, it creates a sense of safety inside that makes us more willing to go into the deeper and darker hard parts of our misunderstandings or communication or conflict resolution skills.
The other thing I want to say about what we're going to role model for you in this is that the partner that is sharing first will be, it's very okay for them to feel and to express their feelings and to say what they think and mean. The partner that is listening, doing the effective listening, has the right to say, I need you to stop so that I can say back what I'm understanding and see if that's what you mean. It also means the partner that is listening, like I said before, puts their feelings aside and is about being present to the person that they're listening to with empathy and compassion and the intention of understanding. And that takes a lot of skill, because oftentimes it's like, well, I'm mad about that too. And I'm mad because, and they want to go on with why they're mad and to justify that they're angry too. And that the way that we're going to teach you in this is not about, the one that's listening getting into their feelings. Their whole goal is to hear and understand their partner, knowing that they will have an opportunity later to be the one that shares their thoughts and their feelings and hopefully be heard and understood by their partner.
That's a really important piece to know. And that's what I meant earlier when I said feelings are not emergency.
Right.
You have the ability to bracket your feeling. When your partner says, I'd like to talk to you, are you willing to listen?
Mm-hmm.
When you say, yes, I'm willing to listen, that means I put aside my agenda. And I'm not going to counter react to anything that my partner is saying. My total focus is to show my partner that I truly want to understand
Right.
why you feel the way you feel, what it's related to, and how you got to the place that you got to, whatever the beliefs or conclusions you were, so that they feel heard. When you
Yeah.
do that prior to ever trying to do problem solving or negotiating, when you feel heard, it means you're open to the possibilities of negotiating some level of compromise.
Mhm.
When it's a conflict head on head, my thinking versus your thinking, or my feeling versus your feeling, it's a competition. And competition means win lose. So we don't
Right.
want it to be a
Yeah.
one up, one down type
Right.
of thing. What we want it to be is a mutual respected, together we are addressing differences that exist within the crucible of our relationship. And
Mhm.
so, how can we go through them where we both come out of feeling affirmed and understood? Doesn't mean we agree. When you're
Right.
listening, doesn't mean you agree with what they're saying. You're just showing them, I want to understand
Right.
you and
Right.
how you got to whatever it is that you're trying to express to me. That's a skill and a talent.
Boy, is it ever. Is it ever.
Because the impulse within us is to want to have a counter response
Oh, boy.
working in your head
I still,
while your partner's thinking or
Yeah.
talking. So
as I just did.
you just did that.
so much requires skill and practice
Right.
and consciousness. So
So if you understand, and this is the thing that helps couples a lot, that it's not one or the other of us that's at fault, that we may mutually be at the limit of our skills and our understanding. That's what a relationship does. It brings us to the limit of our ability to understand how to negotiate, how to communicate, how to express feelings in a healthy, safe way, how to listen effectively. So these tools are about giving both of you the opportunity to go to a greater depth of sharing and understanding.
Mhm.
Because the truth is, when you want to build trust or respect in a relationship, in the beginning it was about how we were attracted, and we created a bond of attraction, which was good, a good foundation. But in a long-term sustained relationship, our trust is really built in, I trust my partner when we get into a conflict to be willing to hear me, to be willing to be honest, to take a look at their own things. So we often will say to couples that your feelings are for you, it's not about your partner. So we tell them use I messaging so that I feel this, not rather I
Or you
am,
make me feel.
or you make me feel
Right.
this. It's like when you describe it, now put your feelings on your partner. Try to understand that the feelings are for you. They're not about your partner.
It's hard too. It's really
Yeah.
hard.
Do you
So-
want to do a demonstration?
I do, and I want you to be the one that starts, and then I reflect back.
You do. Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with
Or
that.
did you want to do it the other way?
I wanted to do it the other way.
You did?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Because I don't have a topic in mind.
Oh boy. Okay, let me be with this for a moment. I was hoping you'd have the topic, and I think I can figure one out. Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Are you ready?
So I'm going to be the one that
Yeah.
starts.
So one of the things that we do, we tell couples as a form of respect, because lots of times what couples will do is that they'll just launch into a conversation when their partner may be doing another task. And it's a way to set yourself up not to be heard. So we encourage them to say, build a container. Are you willing to hear me? That what that does is give the partner a choice to be able to say, sure, and then I can set down whatever I'm doing and focus all of my attention
Good.
toward the partner. Because if I'm multitasking, if I'm watching a ball game,
So let's not go into that.
Yeah,
Let's-
right. It just can create more conflict.
You
than-
just took my topic.
okay,
Great.
there you go. Okay, here we
All
go.
right, all right. so I have something that I want to talk to you about that's, I've got a lot of feelings about it, and it's been on my mind and on my heart for a while. So will you hear me? Will you listen to me?
Yes, I will.
Okay. So one of the things that is really bothering me is, it's that season when the ball games are on, and if you're not watching TV and watching baseball, you have it on your phone. And when we sit down to talk, I feel so unimportant to you because you have your phone in your hand and you're looking at your phone and watching the game when I'm trying to tell you something, and you'll look up and go, uh-huh. And
Okay,
it's
so
just,
stop. So what you're saying is that now one of the things that you have a lot of feelings about that really bothers you is that during a sporting season, especially if there's a team playing that I really have a lot of passion for, it bothers you that when we're in a conversation that I'm often also distracted because I'm trying to watch the game or at least look at some parts of the game as we're having a conversation that really distracts you. Did I get it?
not all of it. I said it to me, it doesn't feel like what I have to say is important to you at all.
Okay, so stop. So when you experience that, you hear it as what you have to say really is it doesn't matter that I'm more preoccupied and less present to you. Did I get that?
It's not that I hear it's that way. It is that way. It is that way. You don't hear me.
So stop.
And okay.
So in your mind, it's that I am completely distracted and I don't hear anything that you're saying to me,
Right.
and that you resent that.
Right. And then I'll say, so what did I just say? And you'll go, what? And then I'll say, what did I just say? And you'll repeat what you think I just said, which sometimes has nothing to do with what I said. It's like you're guessing in your mind, oh God, what'd she say? And to me it's like that's not a
So
conversation.
stop. So uh, when you ask me, what did I just say? Sometimes you experience me just throwing out something that makes me think that I'm trying to present something that makes me think that I'm listening to you, but for you, it's just a confirmation that I'm not listening. I get that.
Right. Which I get even more mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even want to talk to you at that point. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go do something else.
Okay. So
And then
stop. So
okay.
you're ready to quit the conversation because in your first attempt to try to communicate that to me, if I didn't get it,
You're right.
then you're even more mad. So you're just ready to walk out.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is there more?
Well, you don't just do it with baseball. You also do it with when you're watching like uh, things on your phone. I don't know if it's TikTok or whatever, and they're funny things. And then you just turn it up louder and louder so you can hear it. And I might be doing something else or trying to have a conversation with you. And you turn your phone up, and then it's just all this laughter.
Okay. So stop. Okay. So it isn't just sports.
Right.
Sometimes
It's not just sports.
there may be other things that uh, I'm looking at or discussing, and then sometimes I'll turn it up, whether it's music or some kind of funny thing or some kind of conversation.
Yeah.
And when I turn it up and the noise really bothers you, so that's just another way that you feel unheard. Did I get that?
Well, that I feel mad because
Well,
I'm
you're
not
mad
being
because you feel unheard.
Yeah.
Is that
And I feel sad too because, we aren't communicating at all then. And, it's like I might as well just go do my own thing and you keep doing your own thing.
okay? So stop. So
Okay.
not only does it make you mad, but it also feels sad to you. And part of your reaction to the sad is to just want to say, well, I might as well do my own thing because I'm not important to him in this moment because I'm distracted with whatever it is I'm doing. Did I get it?
You did, but I don't think that you understand.
We say it a different way.
Well, it seems like you're just really working on saying back to me what I'm saying to you, and like, did I say it? Did I get it? But it's like I don't get that you agree with me around it. You got something on your nose. It's
She had it,
distracting
yeah.
me. It's like,
Okay. So in your mind, when you're sharing this with me, that not only do you feel sad that I don't hear you, but you're also sad that I don't agree with you, or I'm unwilling to change, unwilling to change my behaviors or recognize.
yeah, I don't get any acknowledgement that you agree, and I want you to I want you to get it that that's what you do.
Okay.
I want you to say, yeah, I do that.
Okay, so stop. So what you're looking for is validation from me.
Yeah, I am.
That the things that I'm
I don't want
doing-
you to just hear me and say what you're understanding me to say. See that you're understanding what I'm saying. I want you to say, you're right. I do
Okay.
that.
So not only you're trying to get me to say more than just understanding what you're doing, you want me to agree and stop the behavior
Or at least acknowledge that I'm right.
or acknowledge that you're right.
Yes, and I want you to say, you're right, Sandra. I do that.
Okay, is there more?
Is there more? Um, no, I think I've said what I want to say about that. I'll reiterate that I want you to validate me, that I want you to acknowledge that, yeah, you do that.
Okay. So you feel complete, except for you want to reiterate.
I do.
It's a passion for
No,
yours.
I don't want you to reiterate. I want you to
You wanted to reiterate that you want me to agree with you.
validate that it's
Validate
true.
you
Yeah.
by agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard you.
I don't like that statement. And I appreciate that you are staying present to me and listening to me. I do believe that you're hearing what I'm saying right now and that you're able to say it back to me in a way that you understand what I say, what I'm saying. And I'm anxious to get on to how are we going to resolve this?
I hear that you really like being heard right now. You see me being present to you, and you want to get to a solution.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay.
Okay. I feel complete.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so when we're out of that role, okay? All right. So I don't know how that went for all of you, and I want you to know that I set it up where I did have an expectation in this that he would validate and agree with me, which happens a lot in couples when they come in for counseling anyway, is they want their partner to validate them and agree with them that they're right and go right into problem solving that and negotiating out what we can do. But it's way too soon to do that. And as you can see, Vince held his boundary and would not validate. He would hear me. He would hear me with empathy. He would understand. He understood what I was saying, but I could not get him to validate me. And so that's the important piece to remember too, that it's going to take time to get to that, problem solving and resolution around whatever the conflict may be. So you want to do one? Or you want to say something about that?
Let me say something about that process. So when she was putting out, I was hearing her really trying to stay present to her feeling and her intention to acknowledge and validate
No, not that.
what her passion was and what it was that she had a problem with in my behavior. And there's another whole side to that. And this is what we mean is that being present to hear somebody doesn't mean that you agree with them, because I haven't had a chance to be able to come back and say something completely different, which is my own way of viewing a similar circumstance and the dynamic that goes on between the two of us. So long before we would get to negotiating any outcomes or getting any level of agreement to something, because that's another whole set of communication skills about how to negotiate and to build compromise together as a couple, which we could do at another time.
Mm-hmm.
But my job at that moment was when she asked me to put aside my agenda, my opinions, or my feelings about everything that she wanted to say, because I wanted her to know that I was present and trying to understand her.
Okay. You want to do it?
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I'd like to express something to you. Are you willing to hear me?
I am. I'm willing to
And I'd like to share.
understand you.
Okay. And it's around the same kind of topic. I want you to know that I agree with you in the sense that I know that I can easily get distracted in what I'm doing, especially if there's a game on or I'm doing things. I also want you to hear that I'm looking at things online. I also want you to hear that I also feel resentful.
Okay, I need you to stop.
Okay.
So what I heard you say is that you heard me in what I was saying about you being distracted by watching things on your phone, whether it's sports or whatever, and sometimes you're online. And that's as much as I heard.
Okay.
So can you say what I missed in that? Because I know I only heard the first part before I started getting defensive.
Okay. So I was saying that I wanted to validate your awareness that or your feelings that you get upset when I get distracted. And I have similar responses to the way you interact with me.
Okay. So I'm having a hard time hearing you right now, but I want you to know that what I heard is that you want to validate my feelings and that you do that. You want to validate that. Did I get that right? Is that what you
Yes,
said?
I do want to validate that.
Okay. And that you have feelings that are similar of the way that I didn't hear the rest of that.
Okay.
Okay. So if you could say more about
for
that.
example, if I am listening to a phone message and then you get a call, you will immediately start talking while I'm listening to a phone message.
Okay. So let me stop you there. Okay.
Okay.
So like when you're listening to messages on your phone and I get a call on my phone and I start talking to the person that I'm on the phone with, then it makes it hard for you to be able to hear what you're listening to.
Yeah, I resent that you're appear to have no consciousness that
Okay.
that my needs or what I am doing is as important to you.
Okay.
So I don't
Can I
feel respected by
Okay.
you.
So can I say that back to you
Yeah.
to make sure that I got it? So will you say it again, please?
Yes. I also have similar feelings. As an example, when I am listening to messages on my phone and you get a phone call, you will answer the phone call and start talking out loud when I'm sitting right across from you, so that I have a hard time listening to my message.
Okay, so let me stop you there. So that you understand what I'm saying about you being listening to your phone and stuff, but the same thing for you is when you're listening to your messages and I'm sitting across from you and I get a phone call and I start talking on the phone without any respect for you're trying to listen to messages.
Correct.
Okay. And you resent that.
I resent that.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I can
similarly,
understand that.
okay, and similarly, you also, well, when you're on your computer, you will turn up sounds, or you will be wanting to play some particular music or something like that. And in the
Okay.
same way, I'm still trying to listen to messages.
Okay. So can you stop there?
Right.
So it's the same kind of thing of when I'm on the computer and we're sitting across from each other in our chairs and I see something that I want to turn up and listen to, and you're on your phone listening to something. It's disruptive to what you're doing,
Right.
and you resent that.
I
that
do.
that. Okay, I understand what you're saying around that. I do. I get it, and I get it.
Good. I appreciate that. And also, there are times when you will start talking to me or asking me questions while I'm still on the phone listening to a message or something else. So I feel completely distracted and pulled out of my ability to stay present to whatever else I was listening to.
Okay, so can you give me an example of that? Because I don't know when I would do that to you if you're on the phone listening. I'm not wanting to defend myself here. I just want you to give me an example because I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, an example of that is, let me see if I can give you a clear example. If you're talking to our daughter, for example,
Mm-hmm.
you might say, Bridget wants to know if we can do this at this time. And I'm not present to your conversation. I'm listening to my phone message or something like that.
Okay.
And so when you throw a question like that at me when I'm active
Okay.
in a different
Got it.
process, I feel completely discounted.
So will you stop for there?
Yes.
So the example that you're giving me makes a lot of sense to me. I appreciate it because that's true. Like I can understand how that would be hard if you're trying to listen to your messages and I'm having a conversation with somebody and I throw out a question to you about us getting together with this person and you're pulled because you're trying to listen to your message on your phone or whatever, and then you're also trying to hear me and you feel pulled.
Right.
And okay, I got it. I understand.
Okay.
I mean, I get that. I do.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel complete.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, good. So hopefully that's helpful to you. I mean, you can see how many times I needed to stop him because what was happening for me is I was going into my defense. Something I was already thinking about. Well, what is it? That isn't the way it happened, you know. So then I couldn't hear him anymore.
Right.
And that's why I asked him if he would say it again. And he was very patient. Sometimes it's hard for a partner to say it again, maybe 2 or 3 times. And it's crucial if you want to be heard and want to be understood. Again, not necessarily agreed with, but heard and understood. So, yeah.
And one of the difficult parts of, there's an old phrase of, what I resent in you is a reflection of something that's in with me. So, when she was doing her expressing of her frustration and mad and her sad, everything inside of me wanted to say, yeah, but you do the same thing to me.
Exactly. And it's
See,
not funny. It isn't funny.
Well, but
It's-
the idea
it is
is
comical.
we just went through our 47th anniversary.
Mhm,
So we have lots of years of doing this. So part of our laughter is that you can get to a point where you recognize each other's not being present with each other because we're human beings and we don't do things perfectly. But we don't harbor the level of resentment we used to harbor
right
when we were younger,
yeah.
because we will take ownership when we recognize those aspects of each other when we're distracted. Because it may be that we're not doing it unintentionally.
Unintentionally or intentionally?
Well, we're not doing it intentionally.
Right. Okay.
It's an unintentional consequence because it's not our intention to not be present. But the way we easily get pulled off or distracted or multitask, a partner can feel discounted. So we need to talk it through and recognize and understand there are subtle ways that we do that to each other. If we're willing to be patient and take the time and hear each other and get past our defenses,
Yeah.
we have a greater sense of mutual respect and understanding of each other, which will help raise our consciousness. So we'll be more mindful in the future of if she's trying to say something to me or I'm doing something, like I'm on the phone and then she has, because it could be she's excited to share something, good news or new news about something and blurts it out and not even conscious of the fact that, wait, I'm listening to something on the phone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And this is something that often happens is that, for example, trying to have conversations or ask somebody, are you willing to do this or doing that? But one's in one room and one's in the other room. And you're both doing something different. She's changing clothes and I'm looking at my phone or something like that.
Right.
And if we're not able to be present, we don't always hear. And then the partner gets frustrated. Didn't you hear me when I said so and so? And so it's those kind of subtle things that have an impact on the quality of your relationship and building trust. So slowing things down and taking a time out, a special time to sit down and communicate and using these skills of, I just want to understand what's going on inside of you and why you're reacting the way you're reacting. Because if it's unintentional in my part, but she's upset, I really would like to understand how she got to her upset because I care about her. It's not a competition. I don't want to get this into a right wrong thing. It's more like saying, yeah, we're human and we unintentionally mess up or discounting of one another's wants, feelings, needs because we're in our own world sometimes and not fully aware or present.
And we are very different personality orientation wise. So, I don't know if you picked this up, but I'm much more of this is urgent. We need to take care of this now. And Vince is forever patient. And so, that's our difference. One of the differences in our personality orientation. So, it's not bad. Neither one of us are bad or wrong. It's how we are and learning how to work with that with each other and respect that with each other. So thanks for being here and listening. And, we can keep going with this if that's what seems to be wanted and go deeper with it because there's many stages of this to get to conflict resolution. So.
Yeah, we're happy to share just not only our own personal experiences. I mean, to me, that's the thing I would want to say in closing is that a healthy relationship is not a perfect relationship. It's, are we present? Do we stay, work through, and solve the problem? Do we have mutual respect for one another? And do we give each other the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah, that's so important.
Rather than going to immediate judgment of, well, he doesn't care about me or she doesn't understand, or because couples go quickly to, well, this isn't working for me. I don't even know if I want to be here anymore. And the moment you start to threaten the relationship, you lose the capacity to build intimacy.
Right. Yeah.
When there's a fear of abandonment. So I will often say that to couples. Yes, you're in a hard part of your relationship. Are you willing to make a commitment not to threaten to leave? Because once that threat is on the table, then you can't do the deep work because you go right into, so what am I going to do? My partner walks out, or what's the point of going on?
Right.
if they're thinking about leaving. So there's all
But
kind-
it's not making that commitment of it's manageable, you know,
Right.
like, are you willing to make a 3-month commitment? So it's not a forever commitment.
Right, that's what I usually say. Are you willing to give this 90 days so that we have enough time to work at building these skills to see if you feel different at 90 days, that you're not so like hopeless
I'm
or
outta here,
helpless
yeah.
or wanting to leave.
Yeah.
So we hope this has been useful.
Yes, I hope it has.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening, and know that you can get a hold of us through Haran Counseling anytime. Leave message if we don't answer, and we're here. We're here to support you. And sometimes you might just need a short phone call, and that's okay too. You can ask for that. So, love to all of you.
Much love.
Bye. Where? Exit.
The end street. There you go.
Thank you. Okay.
It's done.